of individuals like Paul, I wouldn't be standing here this morning talking to you, and my children and my grandchildren wouldn't be. In getting to know Paul, and I knew Paul previously, we're both fellow patriots in the Military Order of the Purple Heart. I asked Paul, what in God's green earth ever possessed you to want to be a Navy corpsman? And he said it all started in 6th grade. He was a school patrol officer. And during that period of time, one morning when he was doing his shift, there was a younger student that had been hit by a car and was bleeding badly. Paul, as his born instincts told him what to do, didn't think. He just stripped off his clothes, took his shirt, and greatly decreased the bleeding of the child that was injured, minimizing its injuries. But this whole incident kind of planted an inquisitiveness in him and an interest about medical issues. Flash forward 6 years later, when Paul graduated from high school, that would have been 1963, he chose to be a Navy corpsman. And if you go back to 1963, different place and time, if you were selected and went to school to become a Navy corpsman, it was a very intense but very complete period of medical training. And Paul graduated successfully. But little did he know that he would be going to Vietnam to be serving as a combat medic in a platoon in Vietnam. During his period, we flash forward now to March of 1966. Paul was the recipient of our nation's Silver Star. The Silver Star is a universal award for valor that's used by all branches of service. And to put it in context for you, if you looked at the people that served during the Vietnam era, I couldn't cut it to a precise number, but I can simply say that less than 1/10 of 1% were ever even considered for the medal, must yet earned it. I'm going to stop at this moment so we can observe the T-6 flyover. I love airplanes. I love the sound of those engines. And you kids, you don't ever have the opportunity to hear such wonderful noises. We learn with our ears as well as our eyes. And again, very, very special. I also want to just tell you of the significance, what the flyover does and why the one airplane splits off is to basically represent and honor the deceased or a deceased when they do a ceremony. And again, we're very, very honored and blessed to have the people from the T6 squadron do this for us this morning. They do this on their own time and money, and you better believe it's a pretty expensive hobby. So, anyway, I'm going back to where I was, and I want to read Paul Goldstein's citation, and I'm just going to read it verbatim as received. Hospital Paul Allen Goldstein, United States Navy, for the service as set forth in the following. Citation. For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action while serving as a corpsman with Company M, 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines, in connection with operations against insurgent communist forces in the Republic of Vietnam. On 21 March 1966, Hospitalman Goldstein's unit was engaged in securing a helicopter landing zone in Quang Ngai Province when one of the participating aircraft experienced mechanical difficulties. And I should explain it. It's an H-34 helicopter. It was would seat up to 16 people in the lower area, and the pilots sat up above. It was also the last of the piston-powered aircraft or helicopters that were used in Vietnam, and therefore it was powered by gasoline. And as you know, gasoline is much more volatile than like jet fuel, which came later. The aircraft experienced difficulties and crashed into flames in a rice paddy. By the time Hospitalman Goldstein reached the scene, the helicopter was a blazing inferno. Hand grenades and machine gun and rifle ammunition were exploding, and the immediate area was showered by molten metal from the burning magnesium rotor blades. The ammunition in the fire, it was not only fire coming from the enemy, but it was also just the munitions that were on board. I guess the term you'd use, they were just cooking off. Very, very hazardous. And for those of you that have ever worked around metals or anything, magnesium basically reaches its melting point, but then virtually explodes. Observing that the pilot was halfway out of the cockpit and struggling to escape from the blazing wreckage, Hospitalman Goldstein and another man immediately raced to his aid, completely disregarding the intense heat and danger from the exploding ammunition and molten magnesium. Although he was painfully burned and temporarily blinded when the rotor blades had exploded, Hospitalman Goldstein persisted in his effort and sought cover only when the stricken pilot had been removed to a safe area. By his extraordinary courage in the face of extreme danger, coupled with the bold initiative and selfless concern for the welfare of another, Hospital Goldstein held the highest traditions of the United States Naval Service. This letter is signed for the President and sent by V.H. Krulak, Commanding General, United States Marine Corps. Paul is here with his wife Rita, and I'd like him to stand along with Rita. Together they have 3 children that are with us today. They have 9 grandsons, and you better believe 1 special granddaughter. When Paul recovered from his wounds and came back to civilian life or citizenship, nothing much changed. He went to the University of Minnesota. He earned his bachelor's degree and then on to earn a master's degree in social work, then went to work for the old General Hospital, or now as we call it HCMC, and spent his entire career in medical social work and medical ethics. In his last years with Hennepin County, he took on a different position and basically initiated a foster adult daycare program for the county. This greatly enhanced the abilities for people to live independently, their quality of life, and at the same time save the taxpayers a great deal of money, a win-win. And Paul just never quits giving back. That's his very, very nature. Today, he is very involved and reconnected with his old Marine buddies, and they still call him Doc. Again, thank you, Paul Goldstein.